Nothing broken from that punch?
No, just my hell's bells ringing.
Track number 3, Broken Bells.
So this really softer kind of beginning with them. A nice little guitar strum with a dotting electric guitar kind of rolling in. I really like this where it doesn't feel like that classic rock sound. I really felt when I've heard this one on repeat, this one really felt like a new version of Greta.
I think this song is a good example of that fantastical, that epicness of the music. Like if you're trying to find that rock and roll banger, I think you're going to be disappointed. But if you listen to the path that this song takes and just appreciate that path, not even that it's my cup of tea per se, but I at least appreciate what they're doing here. I think a great example of that is at the chorus in 113. You get that epicness. You can hear the vocals ringing loud and true. And there's the guitar, but there's also some cello and violin playing that dark riff underneath of it. That is that epicness and that storytelling through theater that I think Greta Van Fleet was really pushing for in this last album and maybe found a better way to do it here.
Yeah, I mean, this is right when you really feel the tom hits from Danny, right in that area that you're talking about just slightly after, where it really does have an awakening, a beginning of the journey, more so than the first two songs. So I definitely feel like this has some, where the cinematic comes in is through Danny's drum work mostly. I think the power of the mix is in the low and the bottoms, and that's where it really, in the beginning, I didn't like the beginning so much of this song too much, but really the lows that are being mixed in is just absolutely epic, and that's what's really driving for me.
Yep.
Ringer, I gotta say, at 309, end of the chorus, the second chorus, it leads into this kind of like solo piece that begins with an acoustic guitar playing a solid riff that it just absolutely sounds wonderful. And the build off of this area of the song is really uplifting and kind of hopeful. Like it is kind of like a hero's journey kind of beginning.
It's, to me, actually sounded very Beatles-like in its approach and just how that, I think, is it keys or bass guitar that just kind of comes in and cascades right over top. They did that after that first chorus as well. But yeah, I love the way those keys roll in. It's got that lighthearted, good feeling to it.
Yeah, that's actually a good call on the Beatles sound. I didn't really pick it out without you saying it, but I definitely hear some rings of Abbey Road kind of right there.
And then that moves right into this like pre-solo at 350, and you have that Beatles-like jam that just ended, and they could have just cut straight to the solo there. That would have been a good time. You finish those bars of solos, or that jam, boom, let's just plop that solo right in. But they do another 4 bars of this arpeggio guitar and really just let it draw out. And that's that path that I'm talking about in that song structure of how everything's a little disguised and hidden. It doesn't happen exactly the way you think. And then it's not till about 4 minutes you really start to hear that solo guitar kick in. And what I really like about this is we're really starting to hear more variation in the tone and the sound. And I think the last album and that first EP, we heard a lot of that Les Paul through a Marshall sound. And now we're starting to hear Jake experiment a little more. And this tone and this solo is one of my favorite tones. I call it like the John Frusciante, Gilmore lineage tone. A lot of the same lineage that's actually influenced my tone as well as a guitar player. Now, I'm not comparing Frusciante and Gilmore to me. I think I'm far more superior than that, but I do like this tone nonetheless. And I'm really glad to see Jake experiment here as well.
Oh, totally. That tone is absolutely sexy, very clean. Just has got such a just rip-roaring piece to it. One of the aspects that I love, especially once you put the headphones on, is Josh's vocals are hauntingly hovering over that pre-solo hit of Jake, and it's just really fucking cool. I just love the placement and the panning of Josh's vocals in that area just sounds great.
Mm-hmm. And within this solo, he does a good job of building the tension before letting the dog off the leash, getting it a little angry. And there's good production bits in here too. There's little bits of like extra added delay and reverb. There's just this part at 452 where it's like, but it's like the lick all of a sudden becomes double tracked and more prominent in the ears. And it's just this little bit here and there that I think signals a really good improvement in the production and just a good job overall on this song.
Yeah, definitely. Any final thoughts, Ringer, on this jam?
I think the song to me was just okay. Like, it's not totally what I'm into, but I think it really sticks true to them in that solo and that end piece just fucking kick ass.
Yeah, if I had to say anything, it was a slow start to the song, but I like the outro. It is kind of like a hard rock kind of feel to it, but there's a little more majesticism with it. And so I think this one lives off of the drums and the guitar and the outro, basically. So, I think this was a pretty good output. I gave this one 2 stars. This one's a top one for me. This is one of my not the favorite, but one of the ones that I came away where I'm like, that's a solid output.